this is the reason why you see a lot of us floating, right? We are forgetting who we are. We left all those anchors when we move, and it feels like we are homeless. We are culturally homeless. We are people with serious confusion and identity crisis.
It's like a crossroads situation when a lot of people come down here, and before they get to realize these things that we're talking about, they've spent over 20, 30 years.
And no matter how long you spend here, have you ever had this experience where you meet somebody and you're trying to get to know each other, right? And maybe they're actually genuinely curious, right? They ask you where you're from. And because probably you live there maybe you are born here, I believe, and you say, "Oh, I'm from Calgary," or "I'm from Toronto," and they go, "Oh, I mean, where are you from?
What route? What's your route?"
I've had people, I don't.
I have come across Africans.
I don't get asked that questions often recently, but
they ask me.
Yeah, the people ask me. Like, I remember some years back, I get asked that question all the time. Like whenever I meet people, and they, when I tell them, "Oh, I'm from Calgary," I met you in Vancouver, I met you somewhere in BC, and you ask me where I'm from. I said I'm from Calgary, and you say, "Oh, I know, but where where are you from?" You've seen this. You've had that, right?
Oh yeah. So anybody that asks me where I come from, I tell them I'm from Calgary. I'm from Windsor. I was born in Windsor, but I live in Calgary. My parents are blah. I just.
It took me a while to start giving answers like that, right? Like start giving, but sometimes you don't want to give, you don't want to give somebody a detailed answer right away, like immediately right off when they ask, right? So yeah, but so what that tells me is that okay, I think people are genuinely curious though. Some people don't mean any harm when they ask that question, but some people actually might have a different motive. Yeah, might have a different motive, right? And it's usually not a good one. Let's talk about markers, the markers we've lost, and what I mean by markers is that what those things that makes us Africans, those signs, those should I call let's call them markers, right? That make us Africans. Talk about our skin colors, talk about people trying to bleach, people who are not comfortable, like running away from your shadow, like you said earlier, right?
Yeah.
So those things are problem, right? You're not comfortable in your own skin. You are trying to
those are
imitations. You're trying to imitate
when they were colonizing Indians, and when they were colonizing
Mongolians, yeah. Okay.
Because some of them became Chinese, some Japanese, some, they become the Asian part today. But what I'm trying to say is these people were made to understand by the British that the lighter your skin, the better you are, the more intelligent you are.
Oh, yeah, I see.
But then, when the Moors were colonizing Europe, Moors are your grandfather, my grandfather.
Okay.
We
colonized Europe.
Yeah. At some point in the 12th century, we were the ones that were ruling Europe. And then, they used to really respect people with melanin. They knew the usefulness of melanin. They knew that melanin was godlike, like it's the quality of God, black matter, or they call it dark matter, that was used in creation by God's spoken word for human to have melanin. But then the latest set of humans that were created in the 16th centuries, they weren't created then, but they came into existence from the Caucasus Mountain. Wow. These people...
That's a lot of history right there.
they came up with an ideology that they are the ones that are the superior because they were the latest. So that ideology ran for 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century.
Wow. That's very recent.
And then recently, 2019, from 2016, 19 to 2019, was when the study of melanin got reintroduced, not introduced, but reintroduced back into universities. And that from that 400 years was when slavery came into existence.
Wow.
And then when it expired, teaching about melanin comes into university existence now and again. You see what I'm saying?
Reactivated.
So it was like a course for 400 years on people that had melanin. And now, from now to another maybe 1,000 years again, or 2,000 or 3,000, like, you're going to see that the people that they have now made that the society is going to be on plain field. Like now, Donald Trump has signed a legislation into American Constitution that makes the melanin people, the non-melanin, everybody has equal rights.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So the people that used to control for 400
there's
years...
always been equal rights. There was something like the rights movement some years back where
this thing I'm talking about is going to reveal something.
Civil Rights Society. What did Civil Rights Society achieve those days?
Now, civil rights elevated the people with melanin from 2/3 of existence to equal rights.
Equal rights. And the one that Donald Trump signed, is it different from... Isn't it the same?
The one that Donald Trump signed now has made, in this 2025, has made people...
Last year, we're in 2026.
Oh, yeah, last year, yes. Sorry, thank you. Has made the people that used to control the people with melanin and has authority in signing issues.
Are you talking about Democrats?
All of them.
They're the same.
Both.
No difference.
Both.
So...
this legislation affects everybody.
Okay.
And has made the people that were controlling for 400 years now, they now are the same with the people they used to control.
Interesting.
In the system. Now the system sees them. Washington sees, and whatever Washington, D.C. recognizes is whatever France, Germany.
It goes Canada. Yeah. If we want to rebuild, to recover, we must remember 4 things. And I've called them the pillars of rebuilding. One of them is memory. You know, we have to remember who we are, where we are coming from. You know, the philosophies that guided our ancestors, the wisdom, those values, we need to remember them. That is the first step. These are the first steps of reclaiming our true identities.
Yeah, I support that. That's very important. It brings you always to your roots. If you have that very foundation in you, you are grounded.
Yeah, because there is something special about the discipline that we have, you know, in Africa, like that morality, that African discipline. You know, one of them is restraint, right? Because we are taught that we need to, like, we are taught to think before we act. You know, like, don't react randomly.
Yeah.
Bring your complaints to your elders. Don't take matters into your hands.
Yeah. That's very important.
Another thing that we need to remember is the African worldview, right? we have this belief that everything happens within time. For example, if you are a farmer, there are times for planting, time that you tend to the crops, and then time for harvesting.
Yeah.
Unlike today when everything is fast, right? Like fast money, and people actually talk about these things, forgetting that they are not originally our thing, this fast money syndrome, like get money, get money, get money,
Yeah,
get
chasing money and forgetting every other thing. The most important thing is, to me, is more of that balance. Yeah, if you can balance them properly, you should be able to proceed. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So the second pillar is meaning. What is life to you? What does life, let me put it this way. What does life mean to you? Money aside, survival aside, what is life to you? What does it mean to be alive, right? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, being alive means being functional, being able to execute. Everybody has their personal destinies, but you'll be able to work with others, assist others, and be as mindful as possible.
Exactly. It also has to do with
Live in the presence.
why am I here? Why do I exist? I exist to rebuild what colonialism broke in our communities.
That's one aspect. There are many, many aspects that comes into play, because apart from what the colonial masters did, there are other things that we need to work on ourselves too, to still balance up things.
How about if I say I exist to create businesses that employ people and not exploit them? Because exploitation is not of Africa.
No. Well,
We don't.
it was introduced to Africans
I see.
historically. When Africa, we didn't used to put doors on our houses, like in Benin City in the 12th century, 13th century, when Benin City was one of the
empires,
world power empires in those days. There was no doors in houses.
Yeah.
Europeans came, and then they went back to
Yeah.
complain to the queen that these people are so careless, they don't even have doors in their houses. So it is something
Because we
that,
didn't have thieves.
because we didn't train thieves. The culture does not teach you how to steal. But when the Westerners came, Obasanjo was shown how to scam the British government. A lot of Igbo boys start learning how to scam. A lot of things got introduced like that to Africa by the foreigners.
Yeah, I agree.
Obasanjo, I know you scammed in the past.
How about if I say, this is another meaning, right? You can say that you exist to be the elder that you never had in your family. Because we cannot underrate the importance of having elders, right? Like we said before, they pass down wisdom. They sit you down and teach you stuff, right? They teach you life. They pass down those philosophies, those wisdom from the ancestors.
Oh, for sure. Because those words, those spoken words, are not just words alone. They are psychological foundations for a little child that is listening to elders every day. Once it is positive, the child gains a lot from it.
And another meaning, though, another reason why you can adopt this for yourselves, right? You can also say, I exist to make sure that my children learn our language. I exist to teach my language to my children.
Yeah.
That's important as well, right? Because remember, we're talking about rebuilding. How do we rebuild ourselves after colonialism, after slavery and colonialism, all the things that's happened in history, right? We need to start building ourselves from the ground up again.
Another aspect is also when the Black Americans they come to Africa, like a lot of people in the diaspora now are moving to Africa. They are opening the eyes of Africans to understand the propaganda that was and how we used to be seen. Like somebody like Aisha Speed.
Yeah, that guy was in Nigeria recently.
His experience in Nigeria was amazing.
It was amazing. He loved it.
But the place that I think
Exposed a
he
whole
had
lot of
more,
stuff too.
yeah, he went to Ghana. That thing I talked about, our mineral resources.
Yeah.
He went to Ghana, saw a lot of gold.
Yeah.
And he wanted to buy one. They
Oh,
told
wow.
him no.
It's not meant for you.
Yeah,
We don't sell it to
I'm sorry, we cannot
sell it to
No. Sorry, I'm wrong. Botswana
Botswana
to buy
So
diamond.
he reviewed a whole lot of stuff with that.
And then he went to Tunisia. You see, in Africa, when the melanin Africans, we were invaded. That's why we ran down from the north to the south. And we show a lot of love to anybody that comes, whether you are melanin or non-melanin. But when you go, the melanin person goes to Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, racism, just like Europe.
Yeah.
So those guys up there, they're practically Europeans and Arab that pushed us down and took over those lands there. And that experience of Aisha Speed, experiencing racism, was before his eyes. The way they traded Senegal, the Egyptians treat the northern Senegalese, the way Morocco treated him, they threw water bottles on him in the stadium.
Wow.
And a lot of things happened
Yeah,
like
I haven't watched a lot of those videos.
Yeah.
I just seen him in Nigeria with this guy called Pele. I think it's called Pele. Is it Pele? One guy that wanted to just see him, and they were making a scene out of the whole thing. But anyways, one of the meanings, or the reason why we exist, that we can incorporate in our lives in this rebuilding process is businesses, like African businesses that will employ Africans. I think that would help. That will help a long way. But yeah, let me finish.
Okay.
That brings me to the corporate environment as well. In this our rebuilding process, right? I'm seeing and I'm hearing also from other Africans about when they see fellow Africans in important positions at work and they don't connect, they don't like give you that helping hand. They don't extend, that handshake, and they don't extend that helping hand to bring you up. That's something I feel.
The longer our people work, the longer we stay in this system, you learn not to borrow people money, to lend people money. But back home, we lend money easily and they return your money.
But this time, I'm not even talking about money.
I'm coming. It connects to that stuff you're saying. We are trained here. They tell you that be independent. You are trained to be independent to a fault. That you start also neglecting people.
Self-care.
And also neglecting people that you can also assist.
Yeah.
In Africa, we are trained
So you're saying that we are swinging too far.
Yes.
Because when they say self-care, and then people take it way too far, and then
it becomes selfishness.
It becomes too selfish that you don't care if someone next to you is dying.
It is the system here that makes it that way. Because if someone is dying,
That's not African.
No, that's not African. If someone is dying, there is an ambulance. Trust me, if you suffocate here, if you stay in this train and suffocate, the next thing you hear is if someone do not call 911, they'll say call an ambulance. Then nobody will come to give you first aid. Make sense? Except the person is certified first aid person. So if you in Africa, whether the person is certified or not, they'll come and help you and use their initiative to help you. But here, people will be scared.
But that also reminds me of what happened to Anthony Joshua and his friends, right? Because from what anyways, you might be able to explain this better than I do, right? Because if you watch that video, right, people just had an accident, right? Traumatized, probably injured, right? And you see them being dragged in that manner, trying to help them. So from what I heard from professionals, they could be doing more damage.
Yes. See, if like that one was a car collision, there was vehicle collision in Niger.
Vehicle collision.
Now, when there is collision, if there is metals pressing people, if you can pry them out pry them out before the ambulance arrives. In Nigeria, before ambulance arrives,
does it even arrive? Does it comes?
So that's what in the kind of environment you are, you gotta use your like I'm first aid certified. I will jump in, help.
Yeah.
But if I am here in Canada and I'm not first aid certified, I see something happen, I will ask, who is first aid certified? I will ask, that's what I would do. I would scream so that somebody that is certified would help. But in Africa, I would not say shit. I would just run in and help. Make sense?
Yeah.
So a lot of things like that. But when it gets to a court case, you must be certified for it to help, even in Africa in recent days.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm looking at how we can make meaning out of our rebuilding, out of our lives, right? And the next thing that comes to mind is mental health and identity healing. I mean, I've heard about mental health a lot, but I've not heard about identity healing that often. People don't talk about healing. We talk about mental health. But this identity crisis, in my opinion, will require some type of
I like
healing.
that angle, identity healing, because that specifically applies to people, melanin people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of communities, you see, we don't have communities like Chinese,
Japanese, maybe.
Filipinos.
Yeah.
If you check them, they're very culture oriented.
Yeah.
But because of our trauma, we were not able to. We find it hard for us to get us to reflect our our community association when we leave our own community back home.
Yeah.
When we come down here, Chinese, Filipino, Indians, they assimilate, they distinguish themselves to have meetings more frequent than we Africans.
Yeah, we have unity problem as well. But let's talk about what that trauma is, because I know that if the type of colonialism that we went through, right? I feel like one of the responses, one of the remedies, right, could be addressing colonial trauma.
Definitely, but you cannot address it if you cannot teach the history properly. And what they have done is, in 1969, the Rockefeller Institution bought the educational syllables. Now in Canada, we don't officially have history as a course, because they don't want me and you, people like us, to know about the torture.
It's even worse in Nigeria.
So you see what I mean? So what I'm saying is, if we don't get back to re-educate ourselves of our history, healing, that is an obstacle in the healing process.
I will say one thing. I will say one thing. In this process of recovering our identity, if you're going to read African history, if you're going to learn about what really happened, make sure you are reading African authors.
Beautiful.
And make sure that you are documenting what you're finding. Because if we are not intentional about these things,
they'll repeat again.
It will repeat again. And you're not going to have any records, right? But if we document them, then they get passed down to the next generations.
And documentation will also help us to know what to avoid in the recent days when they try to reoccur.
Exactly.
If you check a lot of things, this new world order that they're talking about right now is something that has been planned for over 2 centuries. Over 2 centuries.
Wow.
So
it's like a script that is being executed.
So they hand it over to their grandchildren. The people that sell the weapons of war in First World War, their children sold the weapons of war in Second World War. Then their grandchildren sell the weapons of war now that they're fighting Ukraine, Israel, Palestinian. Yes. You understand?
So
because all those
going
people
around in circles, and
they hand it over to their children, their grandchildren. Now they make it a task that, because the more wars, the more weapons they sell, the richer those families.
Yeah, because they make money out of those things. It's all about money.
If we don't stop that cycle, we're going to be recycled again, and they start a new world.
Wow. Okay.
That's why they call it New World Order.
Makes sense to me. So therapy, do you think that we need therapy, like Africans, due to the like we discussed, like we just discussed, right? The trauma, the inferiority complex, the identity confusion, right?
Do you know?
So do you think that part of that identity healing should involve some type of therapy?
If you talk about what happened and find out how they happened,
that's therapy.
That's therapeutic.
Okay.
But when you have a lot of questions, a child grows with a lot of questions that are not answered, is mentally derailing. When I came to Canada and how I think today is totally different. Because
same with me.
I came with a lot of questions, and then how did I even know that the educational institution?
I didn't come with a lot of questions, but I discovered a lot of things.
How did I even know that the educational institution was? I noticed that everybody that graduated from 1979 till let's say 1980 or 1984 down to now, they are very liberal. Yeah, they purposely made people from Obama's time, 2008 down till now. They make the universities to become very, very liberal purposely, so that it will end up into confusion in that generation that triggers war. It is something that was planned, but if you don't get those history to link these points, you won't be able to get this conclusion I'm having. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the points that you made now. What I can take out from it, one thing I can take out from it is that teaching the history, getting to know what happened, is a form of therapy.
Yes.
How about mentorship?
Mentorship is very good too, but be very, very good to choose your mentor, that you choose the one that suits your track of what you're pursuing, you know? Because if you choose a mentor that does not conform with what you're pursuing, you might have to re-choose a mentor again. Make sense?
That makes a whole lot of sense. All right. So also in building we need to take actions, right? Like we need to make sure that what we are hearing, that we actually implementing them in our lives, right?
That involves being accountable too.
Accountability.
Yes, because accountability with that history is what is going to bring what is called.
So who?
I'm coming. Is going to bring what is called behavioral adjustment that leans us towards justice. If we are not historically fortified, we will now we won't be able to see what to be accountable for. And if once we are accountable for it, we don't even have to chase justice once accountability is in place, because justice arrives after accountability.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. So who is going to be accountable?
Now,
or who are we going to hold accountable?
the Stoic teaching they gave to the Greece in the Greece Empire is never to accept mistake. So you will never expect the oppressors to ever get up one morning and say that they're wrong.
I'm guilty.
Because they're scared of going to jail or getting persecuted.
I see.
So we
have to hold them accountable.
We are the ones to tell them, this is what you, historically, what has been happening. Don't let it happen again.
Okay.
If we don't warn one way or the other, they are still going to repeat.
That's
and
a
trust
strong
me,
point you've
even
made.
after you even warn, they will still try.
They will still try
So it's for us to be vigilant
and resist.
and resist.
What
Strategically.
What could that resistance be?
Speaking out.
Okay.
It starts with what we are doing right now.
Nice. So we are resisting
Yes.
by discussing.
When you spread this message, every teenager, every adolescent, every adult, every man, woman, every gender, they're watching us. They can tell that we are making a point that a lot of people are scared of probably even saying, or maybe never really think about. Because there's one thing forgiving who offended you. There's another thing, the offender to apologize. If they don't apologize, you need to move on, but don't let them repeat again, even if they don't apologize. Make sense?
Yeah.
Africans have to be able to stand up and tell the wrong leaders to step down and either vote them out or manually do it like Ibrahim Traore, out. Then the foreigners, when they get upset, we now tell them that this is how we need to live our life. It's called sovereignty.
Yeah.
And this is something that the United States has been using over other countries for ages.
You know, we're going to have more conversations, right? Because when you speak, I feel like we could have more and more episodes to break some other things down that are actually connected, right?
Oh, yeah. They're so connected, bro.
Yeah, they're very, very connected. Because you mentioned the political side now, right? So which I will propose that we're going to have
Sounds
that
good.
we'll have another conversation about. But let's tie this down to where it actually should be, right? We talked about accountability now, right? Do you feel that, because actually the next pillar is morality, right? But let me back up a little bit. There is something here that I need to remember. Okay, so you talked about accountability. Yeah, you talked about accountability. And then that accountability has to do with justice as well, right? Because if we talk about accountability, for you to hold people accountable, you have to bring them to justice. Does that apply?
Not
in this
necessarily.
sense?
Not necessarily in a court of law. Someone offends you, and if they don't acknowledge that they offended you, in the future, you now let the person know that you are rewriting your condition of service. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your condition of proceeding. If the
Yeah.
person
So
must,
now you're saying I am aware of what you did,
in the past,
but
don't
I'm not gonna
repeat it
let
again.
You, but I'm not gonna let you do it again.
This is what we must say every day of our life, henceforth, moving to the future.
I think there is something powerful about this statement, because if every African can say that
in the back of their mind,
in the back of
telepathically,
their mind, but not just in the back of their mind, not just privately, but also publicly.
oh yeah,
Just like we're doing. And I also want to say that this is why I created this space. This is why this Catalyst platform exists, to talk about those uncomfortable conversations that most people would normally avoid.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because these conversations, they are important. They are the spark.
and revealing.
They are revealing. They are the pillars, because we've talked about memory. We've talked about meaning. But there are two more pillars that we need to talk about for this in this rebuilding process, right? And that third pillar is morality. Because we need to remember who we are, right? We need to remember the African morality. There are boundaries. We need to set boundaries for ourselves in this modern world, right? There are boundaries that we should never cross. There should be some values that we could say as Africans we stand on. We stand on these values, and these boundaries we will never cross.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. All right. That's where our morality stands. And finally, the mission. What should be our mission going forward? What should Africans do, from what should be every African mission going forward in this rebuilding process?
Every human is made out of. We were born into locations, in geographical locations in this life. We have to remember our roots, and those roots comes with attributes like cultures like this, and balance the culture. And because if we're able to go through in raising our families properly, it affects the community we live, and from that community we affect the nation, and from that nation we affect the whole world. Everybody sees it like that. We now operate in sync. If everybody thinks the same thing, the word becomes telepathic.
Right.
And your action becomes telepathic too.
Okay.
So if you think the same thing, you're likely going to do the same thing, and then the results will come out. Good results.
So I want to look at it from this perspective, right? Because education is the key, right? There's need to have a type of reorientation, right? Because we need to work on our educational system, right? We need a type of education that is African and for Africans, right? We need to customize.
Let's bring back the Timbuktu and Alexandria University. Timbuktu was in Gabon, Alexandria in Egypt. But the Europeans came and destroyed those, and they burnt those libraries. So, but we still have some professors that has left the knowledge to their children in recent days, and we need to get a hold of those knowledge and spread it all around Africa, and then stop the Rockefeller control on the syllables,
and then teach African history, the true one, the authentic African history.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to speak to the audience. If I pulled you aside, no camera, no audience, just you and your own thoughts, and ask you, who are you? I don't want answers about who your pastor say you are, who your religion say you are, or who your parents say you are. But inside you, right, in your own mind, right, in your own heart, who do you really think you are? And who are you becoming? This is the catalyst. And with me today in the studio is Oscar. Oscar, thank you for being here. Can you tell, because you said really important things here today, right? And I want the listeners, the audience out there to get to know who you are.
Thank you very much, bro. Yeah, my name is Oscar Ikbembo Kunabang, and I hail from
Say it. Don't be shy.
Ikorobi.
Are you wait? Are you going to do the same exact thing that we just talked about? Like,
No, I'm trying to.
are you going to run away from your
I'm
shadows?
not trying to run away from
Name
my
that
shadows.
village. Name that village.
I am trying to say the right thing that needs to be said.
I know.
Uh-huh.
I know.
So he's not running away. He's just trying
know.
to.
Just poke
But
you a little bit.
And this is a very good experience, and a lot of things are going to be said if we are able to get our ducks in a row. It's more about how we train the oncoming generation and how we are able to tell our former oppressors is very important, because if we don't I wish they let me know. You see, my parents were trained not to really let us know that they've been oppressed.
Because they know less.
Probably because of being ashamed to express it.
They knew more than we do. They know more than we do. We know less than our parents. And if we are not careful, our children will know even less than we do.
So, if we're able to pass a lot of knowledge that is hereditary to our children, it will help them to keep the boundary that we have set.
Is that your own mission?
It's one of them.
It's one of the missions.
One of them. I mean, this is something that all of us should be able to look into.
It should be everybody's mission. Yeah, okay.
So, because if we don't set those boundaries, like you said earlier, history is bound to repeat. And it's a very big danger that they don't teach history as a course in universities here, because it is done by design so that the people that are benefiting from it not being in existence, in that knowledge not being in our subconscious, when they repeat what they've done before, we won't be able to oppose them.
That's right, because then we were not able to resist the first
lack
one.
of knowledge keeps us docile somehow.
And docility is dangerous.
Oh, bro.
In this modern world.
I'm telling you.
All right. Thank you once again, Oscar, for being
man.
here.
Thank you very much. You're welcome, Ebra bra.
We're done.